Hey everybody, it's Bryant here with Iaquinta. Of course, he is the co-main event at UFC Fairfax facing Jorge Masvidal. And Al, congratulations, you're in the top 15 now. I know that's something that you've been really chugging for. So how good does that feel? You're facing number 14, Masvidal.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's just another goal checked off was to get in the top 15 and now move up from here. Definitely got a tough fight ahead of me. Ranked one in front of me, number 14, George Masvidal. He's been around forever. He's a veteran of the sport, so I'm definitely looking forward to proving myself.
So you seem to have some respect for him, and he maybe not so much for you because there was that article where he called you what he said you're just a boy, and he was kind of disappointed because he was supposed to fight Benson Henderson. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I can kind of understand where he's coming from. He was supposed to be fighting Ben Henderson, and he's up there in the rankings,
Mhm.
and I think that was a good fight for him.
Yeah.
And now he's got to fight me, who's ranked below where he's at. And I think I'm just as tough, if not a tougher fight for him. So I think,
It's a funny thing about you. I feel like this happens. It's happened before. Not that you get underestimated, but sometimes people are like, why did I get Iaquinta? And the next thing you know, you're smashing them.
that's it. I love it. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
it's interesting too when you look at it. You certainly have more finishes. His have fights have gone to decision more. So stylistically, do you see that you have some advantages there, or do in the way that you guys fight?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think I have a ton of advantages. Um, but like I said, he's a veteran. He's been around, so I got to be ready to go 15 minutes. He knows how to get out of tough situations, and he's been in the cage with some of the best guys. So I know I have a tough fight ahead of me, and um, yeah, no, him looking past me, or if he's looking past me, or underestimating me. If so, that's great. I'm not counting on that. I'm expecting the best George Masvidal that we've seen to come out, and if I'll be ready for it, no matter who it is.
So how did it come together then? Because I actually don't really remember this one like that. Was he scheduled to fight Benson and Benson had, I don't really remember how this
Yeah,
one came
he
together.
was supposed to be fighting Benson, and then I forget who got hurt or
Right.
something, and
Okay.
then Benson jumped in and fought that fight at 170.
Right.
So it was the morning after my fight with Joe Lazone,
Yeah.
and I was on Twitter and I saw they needed an opponent, and I was all feeling good. I checked my body over real quick. I'm looking
Yeah.
at my hands. I'm like, my hands are pretty good. I called my manager up. I said, what do you think? That you think we can get this fight? And he said,
Yeah.
I'll give Joe Silva a call and we'll see what we can do. And by the time I landed in New York, it was a done deal, and
Nice.
I had another fight. So I was, I took a day to heal, and I was right back in the gym the next day.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because you have been able to be more active. A lot of the guys and women talk about how hard it is to get a fight, and have been consistently. Your last fight was in January, so that's pretty close. Uh,
Yeah.
do you think that I feel like it's probably because the way you're finishing people, and you're not taking that damage, and you're putting on exciting fights. But I'm sure that a part of you has to be like, hell yeah, I'm getting more fights because there's a lot of guys standing by.
Yeah, no, I'm having fun. I was hurt for a year and a
Mhm.
half after that Ultimate Fighter, and I
Yeah.
had surgery, and I was sitting on the sideline, miserable, just seeing everyone from the Ultimate Fighter, my season doing good, and
Yeah.
I was like, man, this could be me. Why did this have to happen to me? When I get healthy, I'm gonna take every fight, every opportunity I can.
Yeah.
So I'm living up to that. I told myself I was gonna do that, and I'm just having fun. I'm in the gym every day.
Yeah.
Just I enjoy the team that I'm training with, and we have fun every day training. It's not I don't have to do it. I enjoy doing it.
So you've been very fired up about this. So when you look at your Twitter, so you've been counting down the days. What does MDW stand for?
Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, Memorial Day weekend. Because I'm in my head, I'm going Masvidal down. I don't know. I was trying to figure it
No,
out. I
we're
figured it was
we're not as fortunate over here in New York. We don't get the LA weather all year
yeah.
round. So we're counting down the days till Memorial Day weekend, where hopefully we'll get some nice weather.
Very nice, right? Because then I'm like, the count is off. I'm very confused.
Yeah, no. One of my friends said Memorial Day was this day, Memorial
Yeah.
Day weekend, and the days got so that was I guess it's like 55 days now.
Right.
So we're counting down. We're getting ready for the beach weather.
But listen, anytime you want to come out to LA, we'd be more than happy to have you out there. I mean, I know you have a great gym there, but you're right, you can't really beat the weather, and it is actually kind of interesting to go to different gyms and get another look every now and then.
Definitely. I've been looking to get out and train some other places, but I do all my 6 weeks before my fight. I like to be home. I feel comfortable training here, and I've pretty much been 6 weeks out from a fight for the last 6 months. I've had fight after fight, so I really haven't had any downtime. But I definitely want to get out to some other places. I always love going up to Sacramento and training with the alpha male guys. Right. So definitely looking. Maybe after this fight, I'll get a little time and I'll be able to do some traveling, train some other places.
Well, you could come out. Chris was obviously just out last week doing UFC Tonight and stuff. He did great. I am curious what you think about his fight coming up. And I don't know if you saw the clip where DC, called up Luke Rockhold on the phone and got them smack talking to each other because Luke really obviously wants a shot at Chris. And so it was pretty funny. But I'm curious, you train with Chris all the time, what your thoughts are on his upcoming fight with Vitor. How do you think that one's going to go?
Well, first off, I thought he was awesome on that show.
He was great. Yeah, great. He has such a good sense of humor. It's funny. I was talking with his management team, on the side, and it was one of those things where I don't know that obviously you know it, and I found it out doing a UFC from all angles with Chris. But he has a great sense of humor, and I don't think people really understand that about him. The dude's a really funny guy.
Yeah. No, he's like I said, everyone in the gym is a pleasure to be around. He's always busting balls, and he can take it. So it's it's good. He's just as entertaining as the rest of the crew. So right. I think he's gonna put a whooping on Vitor.
Yeah.
I think TRT or no TRT, it was gonna happen that way, and this is just this is not gonna help that he's not having it. So it's just gonna make it just gonna make it a little more clear who the best in the world is at middleweight for sure.
Well, I told him, because when he was fighting Lyoto, DC's biggest troll there is in the world. And DC actually went up to Chris and was like, "Hey, Chris, not for nothing, but Karyn and Kenny both picked Lyoto. Hey," right? It's like, oh my God, like, dude, you can't. And so DC comes in the office and he's like, guys, there may or may not be a video where I'm telling, Chris that you guys picked against him. We're like, oh my God, because it's uncomfortable. So both Kenny and I, though, after that fight, said, all right, we're never picking against Chris Weidman again, like ever. I don't care who he's fighting. I'm never. And again, that's nothing to say about his opponents, but after having been proven so wrong in that great fight against Lyoto.
No, I think that fight, a lot of people were thinking the same thing. That was really, obviously I see the guy in the gym every day. I know he's killing everybody, but a lot of people, they thought the Anderson Silva could have been, the first one, he was goofing off. The second one, his leg.
Right.
Both fights, he was really dominant up until the end, no matter what, And then the Lyoto Machida, everyone was saying they didn't know going into it how it was going to look. And, Chris really proved himself in that fight. And I think, everyone knows where he stands now.
Well, one of the things we were talking about there was the dream that if the UFC got to fight at Madison Square Garden, if there got to be an event there. And so he lined up all of you guys with fights, but I'm curious for you, because, I lived in New York for 7 years. I love it there. To go see a show at the Garden would be phenomenal. So who would be your dream fight there if you could get on a card there?
That would be it, man. Chris, he put me down there fighting the champ, and that,
nice.
What more could you dream of? Fighting for the title in Madison Square Garden. So, that would be a dream come true.
Yeah.
Any fight in Madison Square Garden or anywhere in New York, Nassau Coliseum, the Barclays Center now. Yeah. There would be it's gonna happen, and I can't wait. Keep my fingers crossed.
It'd be amazing. So, what did you think about the changing in the hands? Obviously, going into that fight, a lot of people, Pettis has been so dominant, with the people he's beaten them in a way that made it look relatively easy for him. And then Dos Anjos just came out there and just owned him, just stuck it to him. Did you expect that going into that fight? And how long do you think Dos Anjos could stay the champ?
Yeah, I didn't see that happening.
Yeah.
Pettis has been so smooth and so slick. Even against Melendez, he had the first round. Melendez trying to take him down, and he stayed on his feet for the most part, and then caught him in that guillotine. I kind of saw it maybe going like the same way, but I think Dos Anjos, he could be champ for a while, definitely.
Until He fights you at the Garden.
At the Garden. That's it. That's it.
Very nice. Something else I saw on your Twitter, you said you need to visit Thailand. I've been saying I need to go to Bali. I saw that you posted some stuff. So you haven't been to Thailand? Because I feel like a lot of fighters have gone there, to get their Muay Thai training in.
Yeah, no, Thailand's definitely one place I've been always wanting to go. You know, there's beautiful beaches and excellent Muay Thai training. So, and now just real MMA in general is getting big over there. So, I think it'd be a great trip to, when I get some downtime, go over there and kind of hang out, see some new sights, and get some great training in.
But you don't get a lot of downtime. So you've had 3 big wins in a row. Was any of those more satisfying? I feel like the Ross Pearson fight, a lot of people knew that was going to be a banger. I don't know if that was more or less satisfying than beating Joe Lozon, but I'm just curious how you feel about the wins that you've been putting together. And did one signify more than the other?
Not so much. I think it's just each one is the biggest win of my life. So it's that feeling over and over again. So I'm chasing that feeling with every fight, and Australia, the fight with Ross Pearson in Australia was different because I stayed afterwards. It was like I got a win. I wasn't injured, and I stayed there for like 2 weeks after, and I just saw the whole east coast of Australia. Did a lot of surfing and stuff. It was winter, starting to get winter here, so the warm weather was awesome. But as far as like the immediate feeling after the fight of the victory, it's always the same. It's that fight's the biggest fight, and that's just the best feeling.
Nice. And now this is your first co-main event, I believe, right?
The Ross Pearson.
Oh, that was the Ross. That's right. That was a co-main event too.
But I love it. We're moving up and gonna stay at the top. Try to get keep winning these co-main events, and eventually I know I'll be there in the main event.
Nice. Well, I'll be on the air at Fox Friday and Saturday real early. I don't know how you feel about that, this whole breakfast with the UFC thing. It's a little bit of a shift having to go fight so early.
Yeah, it was like that in Australia because of the time difference. So I kind of got used to it there, and I didn't have a problem with it.
Right.
Luckily, I'm at the end of the card, so it's a little later in the day. The guys in the beginning, that's kind of rough. Fighting at like 10 in the morning could be, that's kind of crazy. Wake up and fight pretty much.
Right.
But, your opponent's dealing with the same thing, whatever it is. So it's, it's not a huge big deal if you can just make it work for you.
Right. Well, very good. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the air. And you usually don't have any problems making weight, right? You're usually good?
I'm good. I've been fighting so much. I haven't had time to put weight on. I'm loving it. Staying active and eating good.
Yeah, so, good. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time on a Sunday with me, Al, and I will see you on the air. I'll see you on the scale.
Sounds good, Karyn. I appreciate you having me.
Sure.